Hello and welcome back to another Ministry Eviction gameplay video. This is a game that I played earlier today against RZ. So it's very high level, a very high level game. You can see here my APM immediately, so my actions per minute, that's what I mean by APM, is reasonably high, but also faltering a couple of times, like just making a couple of tiny mistakes that are going to lose me 2-3 seconds, like not building monos soon enough. So this game was a very interesting one. Right now I'm just deciding where I'm going to put my daggers to get oil. This game was a very interesting one because there were a couple of really funny things that happened that I didn't expect to happen during the game, and despite having a very, very strong start, it turns out this game really quite well showcased that a good start doesn't necessarily mean a win. It means you're in a good spot, but it doesn't necessarily mean a win. So just doing my normal starting hex, I start off with silicon, then I build titanium daggers. Normally I try to build monos a little earlier than I did, but I built daggers and monos, and then going immediately into copper drills with some thorium afterwards, copper and lead drills with some thorium afterwards, and then I just build graphite and metaglass at around the same sort of time. And that's all of the basic tier resources done. So now I'm just going to build a steam generator. That's the very first thing. And I'm just going to yoink this around. After I've gotten a small amount of everything, I start just building steam generators and then my first air blast. So my first air blast is going to be coming down at a bit under 2 minutes. But I probably won't have quite enough silicon to fully finish the 6 silicon schematic, as you can see here. So I'm just going to go and mine some more copper and tear up that scatter to try and get some more copper and lead. Tearing up your scatters and arcs in your first hex is a very good way to get copper and lead early on. Now here I'm just going to build this this differential generator, and what I'm noticing here is that the water extractor on that, along with the singular Titan drill, which I only need one of them, will cost 40 graphite in total, and I don't quite have that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up another graphite factory and start hand mining a bit of coal into core, and that graphite factory won't run full time, but it'll run a little bit of efficiency throughout most of the game. And now that I've got the differential generator up, I can feel safe putting down some more monos and moving into my second hex decently before 3 minutes. So, very nice start here. Yeah, about nearly 3 minutes moving into second hex. Here I'm going to immediately start building some graphite, and you can see on the other side of the map, which I did check, I've scouted him a couple times already. RZ is all the way over there on the other side of the map, and I know from the way that RZ plays and the way that I play, I know that firstly, he very much enjoys doing a more aggressive rush build order. And I also know that he isn't confident in playing me in anything that isn't a rush. And now I'm just struggling to hand wire this silicon up. But I know that he isn't confident in playing me in anything that isn't a rush, so I can be fairly certain that he will try to rush me. And from this small scout, I know that I'm very considerably ahead right off the bat. He's got about 2 air blasts up and maybe a little bit more economy in his first hex, but I have 4 air blasts and I'm moving on to polys now. So I'm just going to try to get this poly factory done as soon as I can. And just wire into the next hex. So we're at about 4 and a bit minutes in right now. And we can see polys are up, and now I'm just going to immediately go and build plastanium. So this is where the battery that I built in first hex really shines. I don't have to build any power until I've already got all of the stuff that I need to build right now in this hex up. And that includes plastic and surge. So we're getting the plastic and surge down before 5 minutes, which is always a very, very nice timing. If that runs continuously and then fail to set it up properly, because the build priority is a bit bad, and I just teleport back into here. So anytime that you put down surge and plastanium, Once they're both down, your first overdrive dome should come down in the next around a minute and 70 seconds. No sooner or later. That being said, sometimes it doesn't quite work out that way. Sometimes it works out much worse. And so, but normally that's the sort of guideline you should go off. So right now I'm just spamming out as much economy as I can. I've got Metaglass down now, and I'm just building some more power because I know that I'll need it right about now. And I'm just building stuff. And now you can notice here I'm just sort of beginning to run out of thorium and have enough plastanium and surge, beginning to have enough plastanium and surge to build an overdrive dome. So I'm just going to run over here and do that. And I'm noticing, yep, he's definitely going for a hyper aggro attack. So I'm just going to start spamming scatters wherever I can, really. And I'm going to go up into this hex before I realize, oh, I've got nearly enough for a dome, and I'm going to put down the dome. And the dome here, I believe, when we look at slash time, the dome comes down at 6 minutes and 15 seconds-ish. So that is the new record for domes in Eviction. Here, this attack that RZ is trying to do, well, I have 3 polys in this hex. You're not going to be able to get anything out of that. This, I ran out of lead, so I wasn't able to defend the plastanium factory, but whatever. I got plenty of lead now, and I just rebuild it. And I teleport back into first hex to try to save the steam gen and managed to fail, which is a little unfortunate, but I just pulled out 1-5 and put down the wave. So that's the beginning, going down to put some more scatters in, and that's the amazing start. This is an amazing, incredible start. And we're seeing now I'm just building more economy, making sure my defenses are fine. We're about just over 7 minutes in, and I'm already looking to put down my second overdrive dome in a bit. But I might have forgotten to. I need to make sure that I don't run out of power. That's one thing that I'm very paranoid about here. So I put down all of that stuff. I notice these flares coming in. I'm presuming that they're not going to go for anything. I'm just presuming that it's going to be something pretty useless. And now I'm going to put down a large Metaglass factory. So this Metaglass is designed to go into directly into scatters. This was a mistake. I should have... Basically what you'll see out of this game, the big mistake was that I felt like I could never afford a large differential generator schematic, so I simply never built any eco. Because I couldn't afford a big differential generator, and therefore I can't have any power, and therefore I'm not going to build anything. Which is just a massive mistake. But I'm noticing here, he doesn't have a lot of unit production yet, and I have both the resources for another overdrive dome and a half, and also I just have enough resources for some tier 3. So I'm going to put down some tier 3, put down another overdrive dome, and just get my economy zooming. I'm noticing this attack come in. I'm just going to make sure that this core can't be taken, and I'm going to put down the second tier 3, and then realize that that was stupid and tear it up before RZ can snipe it out with his flares. And you can see he went immediately to try to snipe it out, and I destroyed it in time. That attack there did not do anything. I have my polys and my player unit on that core. It was pointless, just lost RZ a lot of flares. But you can see now I'm going to tear this up, and I'm just going to build some flares of my own because I feel like that's necessary at this point. Those are going to do nothing. I have copper and lead for days, and I can just spam out arcs. They die instantly. So I built a force field. Going to go over to the other core. No, I'm not going to go over to the other core just yet. But yeah, I'm just sort of moving around with my units and stuff. We're not even 9 minutes in. Realistically, I should be considerably faster than I am right now after this start. But, oh well, it is what it is. Nothing's going too horrendously wrong just yet. And that's what's important. He keeps sniping out this infrastructure, which kind of sucks because I don't have the silicon to really be affording to have that die, but he can't actually see that. It's just a lucky guess. Well, not guess, he probably wouldn't have considered it, but it's just lucky that he didn't have it. So I'm running over here, building another overdrive dome in my first hex, and just really trying to make sure everything is domed, everything is running full speed. There we go. Putting down some scatters, and yeah, now I'm noticing he's got plenty of defenses. He's got plenty of economy for defenses. There's no point in me trying to use those fortresses for anything just yet. But now I've got this silicon running. I'm going to tear this up, and I'm going to be really aware of what he's doing for a second, because I know that as soon as he sees that I tore that up, he's going to try to send some flares in. So I'm just going to immediately go and build a scatter defense there. Now, I missed something down here, which is very unfortunate. I'm really not checking map a lot this game. I don't know why. Big mistake, but there goes my power. So yeah, this is the problem. I'm gonna run out of power a lot of times in this game, and I lose that core. So that's a problem. So now I'm not ahead in economy anymore, or if I am, it's only barely. So now I've got to figure out a way to scramble and fix everything in time. I'm going to grab a couple of those polys to try and get into the core there and mend it so that the Zenith can't kill it. Everything's on fire, and I'm just completely throwing the game. But it is what it is. Those Zenith there are going to die, and I'm going to maybe get things fixed. Trying to rebuild things very quickly, but realistically, I should have already moved on into mid-game tier economy a lot sooner. The fortress factory that I built gained me nothing and cost me a lot. So realistically, I should have just not built it. But you can see here, I can still afford some more diff gens. Maybe not the silicon for a 7 diff, but I could afford like a 4 diff or something, and I'm just still not. I'm just allergic to it. I don't want to build any more power than I need to, which is a massive, massive blunder. And that I don't notice until just now. Didn't die, thankfully, but it's about to when those Zenith come in. Kaboom. No? Not kaboom. Never mind. Wonderful. It doesn't die yet. That's amazing. But one thing for certain is that I do not have a very stable economy. I need some more power really, really badly. At the current point in time, my economy is just in shambles. There's nothing good about it. And he's got a 2x self-eco up. So I'm probably a bit behind. Nah. It's very hard to say that I'm a bit behind out of doming all of these hexes, because I don't think he has any crucibles up yet. So he's going incredibly slow as well. Mostly due to dumping into units so early and doing so much harassing. I decide I can't afford those lances. So we head up top again, and bad choice of course to build that differential generator. There's no coal that I can really use to build silicon on. So I have to go into another hex and build another defense there, which costs yet more resources. And then I try and go around and see if I can snipe anything. Just mostly those flares are designed to get his attention and make him actually do something. Even if I'm never going to get any value out of those flares unless they don't notice, but I can not commit them and then eventually they will notice. So here I'm doing some funny things. I'm completely messing up my wiring, but eventually I managed to figure out, hey, I can wire this through the dome and then put phase in the side. And I just need to build a phase factory somewhere. And this is a bad point. This is when I really start to notice, something's going horribly wrong. So I move my fortress around and just try to stop whatever it is he's doing. And then I leave, because I decide that rather than saving that economy, I'm better off just building more stuff. Which is fair enough. No harm in building more stuff, because I can rebuild that later. And he's losing a lot of units while doing this. And now the funny play of the game. I build a Spectre and then lose the drill. And then manage to repeatedly fail rebuilding the drill. So I have to end up defending the really expensive and powerful defense that I put down. Until eventually I do get the defense up and then the Spectre starts running for a bit again. And then I put up some walls and... yeah, he has to leave. So I'm just running around like a headless chicken. I don't know what I'm doing. Just trying desperately not to lose the game too badly. I'm still, at this point, I think I'm back to being ahead in economy, and now all of a sudden I'm not. That's amazing. Yeah, losing that does kind of suck. But most of my economy wasn't actually in that hex. That hex has relatively low value to me. I know that I'm not going to be able to save that, so I'm just going to keep my polys out of the core and then connect the economy here up. And so now I'm just going to go, okay, well, he can have that. That doesn't really matter to me all that much. It's not very valuable. I'll just build somewhere else instead. Because I know that I'm ahead, and now I'm just going to plop down a 3x Zenith. So at this point, I'm about to start outproducing him on Zenith. And I also notice that his power's out. Can I do anything about that? No. But it's out, and that means that his eco is going to be stunted for a little bit. Now I'm fumbling up my hotkeys with my schematic library. Building a meltdown because I can. Trading units terribly, whatever. And then just building some phase. So the biggest mistake in this game that I made was just not building that differential generator and then taking it to higher tier eco. I just wanted to stay with lower tier eco because I didn't feel comfortable. But you're never going to feel comfortable teching up against a hyper aggro player. It's just not how it works. And there's a certain point you've got to accept that. So I'm just setting some stuff up here, making sure all of my eco is working okay, and then noticing, ooh, that core down below is free. Why do they have not have any scatters on that? I don't know. But they don't. So we're just going to take that. That's mine now. I believe property of Virogens, yeah. And now I'm again failing my hotkeys and then finally realize, right. Hotkey for a swarmer is 1-9. So I hit 1-9 and I start building some swarmers. Meanwhile, I'm just running my Zenith around, running my polys around, trying to get into that core. Because if I can take and hold that core, that's massive. That's a lot of good stuff. And now I'm noticing, attack. And it does nothing. It's completely pointless. I have plenty of polys to deal with that, and so he just ends up losing a lot of units. And then I'm going to start putting down a couple of force fields, a couple of lancers, and then realizing that these polys are coming and respawning to deal with them. Polys? Pulsars. And they're going to go straight for the core, so I'm just going to build some arcs, and they're all gone. Pulsars are not good units. They're very, very weak, and they're not exactly what you would call hard to defend against, especially because, your opponent's going to have at least one poly to one pulsar that you have, and if they have that many polys, that's a lot of arcs going down immediately. There goes my power again, so I'm just going to do some funky stuff, try to figure out how to build power again. I'm still paranoid about building these diff gens, and now I'm going to start disconnecting stuff so that, hopefully, Zenith and Phase Factory there are turned off. And they're going to take that call from me, which kind of sucks, but whatever. I'm going to take it back. We'll just flip that back and forth a few times, and then I'm going to go look for something that I can do with these Zenith, have nothing that I can do with those Zenith, and decide to return back. Now I've found something. This entire hex is basically undefended. That's fun. Let's go for that. There's plenty of things that are flammable in there. He gets some units on there, so I know that I'm not gonna be able to take the core, but I can take this differential generator schematic. And that's probably valuable to him, right? And now as he's trying to deal with that, I can run my Zenith up and out. And it looks like he hasn't followed me. So that's amazing. He's followed me with his player unit, but nothing else, and that is going to take. At least that's what I thought in the game, and then I realized, oh, is it? Is it? Is it? And one more, and it dies. I had one Zenith left on, like, maybe a tenth of its health, and I got the core. So pretty happy about that. Just going to build some defenses on this differential generator. And then I'm going to run some units around and just cause problems. I'm very comfortably winning here because he doesn't have any Zenith prod anymore. He might have a decent amount of economy, but it's never going to touch the amount of economy that I have. And so I'm just going to start building some stuff. I've finally figured out how to not have a skill issue and just build the biggest stuff that you can afford. Yeah, that took me a pretty long time to work that one out in this game. But overall, the game is fairly clean by me. I lose a couple of cores, but it doesn't really matter. And at this point, it's mostly a thing of just cleaning up once I get this schematic down. Because once I get the schematic down, I can just drop down. I can probably place down a 6 Zenith and just be done. The game will be over at that point. I'll have way more economy, and I'll also have 9 Zenith, and they have maybe 2 if they can get their Zenith back up in time. So I just need to make sure that these titanium drills go down, because I've completely neglected titanium for a long time. And make sure that my Zenith and my phase is running. And I was wondering why that wasn't turning on, and that's because there's no titanium. So we just run units in. Not really anything too fancy about this. My reasoning for this exchange in the game was, even though it's a terrible exchange, I'm losing way more units than he is. He's got a 360 surround. Now I've got this 360 surround, which is amazing. But my reasoning for taking that exchange is that he can't actually... He doesn't have any unit factories, so he can't replace those units, and I can. So even if I'm trading miserably, it's still a positive trade. And at this point, I managed to miswire that thorium. That's a bit annoying. But at this point, I just decide, probably traded enough units here. Let me just pull out. And I have, I basically have the ability to put down a full, oh, there goes power. A full 6x. If I had power, I could put down a full 6x. But I don't. Here, he's going to go for something. I don't know what. I'm just going to end up chasing his units around for a second and then ignoring them. Tear up these force fields to try to put down a large differential generator, and then I realized, wait, that's probably too large, and I try and put down a smaller one. Yeah, the key to economy building is just build the biggest thing that you can afford at any given point in time, really. Building the right thing is secondary, but building the biggest thing is what really matters. Now I'm going to go look for something to do with this Zenith. And I'm going to look at this and I'm going to see there's a 3 cruise that he's turned off for some reason. Presumably his sand or coal died. But he's turned it off and there's no Zenith on that core. And the polys are not strong units when compared with tier 3. So I take the core. RZ says GG, well played in the game. I can't play because it's a not a tournament game, but it's on the tournament server. So he says GG, well played. I say GG as well, and that's the game. GG.